Welcome to Behind the Brand, the podcast that offers a captivating platform for business owners to share their inspiring stories. Join us as we take a deep dive into the experiences of successful entrepreneurs, allowing them to step out of their businesses and reveal the incredible narratives that shaped their journeys. Gain valuable insights, learn from their triumphs and challenges, and uncover the secrets behind building remarkable brands. Get ready to be inspired by the personal tales that lie behind the brand.
Seymour from Recovery Lab, thanks so much for coming in, mate. It's a pleasure to sit down and learn more about you as a person and Recovery Lab as a brand. Mate, I'm super interested to find out sort of who you are, what you stand for, where your values are, and how you ended up in this position personally and in business. So, mate, who you are, where did you come from? I'm super interested to learn all about you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I was born in New Zealand and moved to Australia when I was 13. My parents moved here for work. Dad had businesses and been in that space all his life. So I probably learned a lot of him through that and through the journey. But moved here when I was 13, went to school, played rugby. Coming from New Zealand, it's kind of a given.
Yeah.
And that was my full focus until I was about 26.
Yeah.
And then retired from that, and then been in the health and fitness space since, and then probably evolved into the wellness space in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, nice. Where did you land in Australia?
Straight into Sydney.
What school did you go to?
Scott's College in Bellevue Hill.
Yeah. And was that tricky being 13, moving to a different country?
Yeah.
Talk to that for a bit. Like, it was...
No friends, no college.
Yeah, nothing.
No connections.
Funny accent.
Yeah, I used to get paid out all the time for that. But I got a younger brother, so we obviously moved here together. I struggled to get into school for like 3 or 4 months there, and I was
was a full at that school?
Yeah, or just any school. Like,
really?
Yeah. I originally went to Randwick Boys High for an interview because they were decent at rugby. That's what I looked at, really. And then obviously my parents made the decision, but I was like rugby.
Yeah.
Cranbrook, and had to board to get in.
Yeah.
And then finally Scott's opened the doors.
Yeah.
And let me in. Checking my record, I'm not sure how, but anyway, I was lucky to get there. And then that was I was 13, so year 7.
Year 7-ish.
Yeah, start of year 8. They did that last term. They sort of change over. It was into that, and I was very lucky to go there. It was an awesome school and taught me a lot of things and good connections and networking and things like that as well.
And at that age, you're talking about rugby. Was that what you're all like? It was just that's all you wanted to do. Could you thought you were going I only want to play rugby.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah. And then so you're playing for the school, and then that transition. Like, who'd you play with after school or
so school. You play like GPS. We're in a GPS competition, so a few schools in that. You play that, then you try and make New South Wales schoolboys, and then from there you try and make Aussie schools. So year 10 and 11, I made that into the New South Wales, and then in year 12 made nothing, and that was a bit of a shock to me.
You used to making the teams.
Yeah. I was. I didn't play in the last game before selection because I got rested. I had a big cork on my leg, but could have played. But it was the first game of the year, so got rested in that. Didn't make any of the teams. Was pretty disappointed with whatever happened there. But just sort of flipped it on its head and made me work a lot harder for things that I didn't have or took for granted. And then a lot of my mates went on to play Aussie schools and sign contracts straight off the bat there. And I didn't have that first year out, so I had to go back to the drawing board. Went over and played in Manly under Phil Blake, who I met, and was a really good coach and mentor, and had a few other mentors, and sort of put my head down for a year, and then signed a contract there. And I was in the Waratahs sort of feeder group and train on for 2 years, and then I went over to the Force.
Do you have to, coming from New Zealand, do you have to align with? Could have you went through and played for Australia, or would have you went? At what stage do you have to decide what way you go?
No, you can. I think it's 36 months or 3 years.
Yeah.
You're kind of considered. If you haven't been capped before, then I was considered. I could have played. Gone down the Australian path. I was in the sevens realm for a bit and went to a few camps there. And if I did get capped in that, then I would have been Australian.
Yeah.
But then when I went overseas and played in Europe and came back here, I was considered a foreigner.
Yeah.
So that kind of played into the contract roles. Back when I got here.
Yeah. How long were you overseas playing?
I think I did about 5 years.
And how old were you there? From like 20?
21, 22
Yeah.
to about 26,
Yeah.
nearly 27.
Yeah. That would have been like, is that fun? Like that was like a pretty important part of your life?
Yeah, it was time of my life.
Yeah.
It's the best,
Yeah.
best thing ever. Like,
Where were you then?
I did 2 years in France to start with, and I went back home to New Zealand and did a season there, and then back to Italy.
Huge.
So yeah, France was cool. It was, my first game was against Johnny Wilkinson, so that was a pretty big lineup there, and against Toulon, so Matty Giddo and Drew Mitchell and all those guys. So that was cool. And a couple of years there, back home to New Zealand. I wanted to go back and play in front of my grandparents. They couldn't travel at the time, and I signed for a team, and we played in their hometown. So that was pretty cool, and they got to come and watch and things like that. So that was awesome. And then back to Italy to go and live out the European dream.
Yeah, so good. And like, so towards the end of your football career, was that like, what did that look like? Was it hard to sort of leave and find like a job, like if you call it that, or like what? Yeah.
Yeah, I left over a pay dispute, so I left halfway through.
Yeah.
A contract, came back home, and then.
Do you have a manager?
Yeah.
How's that work?
Yeah. So you have an agent and things like that, and just the Italian just kind of do it differently over there. They're the boss, and we weren't getting paid for a while. We won the comp the year before, and we were owed bonuses that we never got paid and still haven't been paid for. But
privately owned club.
Yeah. And we were lucky enough to be able to live on our wage. Some of the Italian boys there were sort of scraping through, and if the budget, you're budgeting for 4 weeks every pay, and it comes every 6 weeks, and then 8 weeks, and then 4. It's hard. So those boys were kind of struggling. A few of us made a stand for it, and so that was the end of that contract. I actually moved back home and didn't know what I was going to do. I just wanted to get back home, and unfortunately that club actually just folded a few months ago. So it was a pretty decent club. We won the comp, fair amount of times, and a lot of history and a lot of people going through the club to play for Italy.
Yeah.
Which was the goal there. So it was sad to see, I think.
Yeah. So you come back to Australia.
Yeah.
And then what do you do then? Just hang out a bit and try to figure out what's
no money,
next.
No job, no plan.
Yeah, no money spent.
And
at all.
was it hard as well, like transitioning back into that almost like normal world? It's like if you travel in the world, doing what you love, and then all of a sudden you're like, fuck, what's next for me now?
Yeah, well, you get it drilled into you from a young age. Like, rugby's never forever. You need to think about what's next.
Did your parents help you with that too? Like your dad being in business, typically someone who can look a little bit further in the future.
Yeah, but it's up to me at the end of the day. And when you're in the groove, you're like, it's never going to end. It's never going to end. I'm young, and I never really ever thought about that, to be honest, about what was coming, and it all came pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I came back to Sydney, and my dad and family work in construction and restoration works and things like that. So I was in subfloors of houses, crawling through there with spiders and God knows what else. And I lasted a day there and I quit. I was like, I'm not doing this.
One full day.
Yeah. Well, probably 3/4. I was like, stuff this, I'm out.
And that was one of your dad's companies?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So they still do all that, and my brother's in there, and it was awesome. I've gone back and done bits and pieces and
other half days here and there.
Yeah, help mum out. But that was definitely not for me. My dad's a bit bigger than me, but for the big boys jumping in between those subfloors, and it's not like New Zealand. You just run through the grass. Nothing's there.
Yeah.
Here, there's always something crawling behind you.
Trying to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. So that was definitely a wake up call for me. And then always loved training and trying to be like the fittest in the team and be able to make key decisions under pressure while fatigued.
Where do you think that come from? Well, that mindset.
I guess just being thrown in the deep end as a 10 in rugby, it's kind of your goal, and if you can't do it, then you're not going to make it. Someone else will, and they'll come and fill your spot. So there's always someone chomping at your heels there. And when you're in Europe, and there's there's so much pressure on you over there as a foreigner. They can only sign a certain amount of foreigners in a team, and you got to perform every week. You miss a shot at goal, and it's the end of the world. Why'd you do that? It's like.
It's almost like a marquee player. Like
Yeah.
you only get a couple of them. And,
Yeah, exactly.
And you got to perform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously I wasn't at the big clubs,
Yeah.
but
So you come home, still training, like
still trying to train a bit.
Yeah.
And then I missed the team environment a lot.
Yeah.
I think from that, and didn't really know what to go for, and then kind of found myself in the endurance space of testing myself solo and not having to rely on your teammates to pick you up when you're tired and things like that. And
that was just to try to keep you sharp, like your sword sharp and So
Yeah.
what were you doing? Like long runs,
I did a couple. Long was half marathons and
Yeah.
nothing super long, but then got the itch and signed up to some stupid ultra marathon, and then went and did that, and then
Was that like a 50 or 100 or what was that?
250.
Wow.
Big run.
Yeah, multi-stage across Chile.
Yeah.
So you had to carry everything on your back for 6 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was there start and stop checkpoints, or you could go for 2 days and then rest?
Start stop. So sort of averaging a mara a day kind of thing, and then one day was a double with a rest day the next day, because some people would take a bit longer or walk it or things like that and just get through it.
Yeah.
And then finish with 15 Ks, I think, on the last day there.
Wow.
And when you got like everything on your back, tent, water, and everything.
Food, they give you a tent. So you sleep in a marquee kind of thing with 10 other kind of competitors or races, and they'd fill your water up, but they'd only give you water. So you had to, take your carbohydrate drinks or protein or your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, whatever you're going to eat and snack on throughout the day. You had to take it from day one until
Day 6.
till the end. Yeah.
So you leave with 8-10 kilos in your back.
Oh yeah, I think mine was about 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of weight.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight, and gradually gets a bit easier towards the end.
How many people in that race?
Yeah, it was more tired. I think started was about 130.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think 80 odd finished.
Yeah. Pretty good boxer tick, like mentally to be able to know that you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That kind of really opened my
Late
eyes
20s.
to
How old were you?
a lot of things. 27.
Yeah. And you're still playing that world, or?
I've done a few. Done a few. Enjoy it. And then sort of the adventure racing in pairs.
Yeah.
Enjoy finding what your perceived limits, I guess, and then working out a way to get past those and move on to the next.
Yeah, I love it. So you come back from that, like, are you working at this stage?
Yeah, PTing.
Yeah.
Yeah, personal training.
Where were you at then?
I first started at PE department in Potts Point, and then went down to BFit in Double Bay.
Yep.
I'm still working at BFit Double Bay 2 days a week. Love it there. Good community. Awesome training. So yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So how'd you end up in, like, so when you say you're still doing it, you mean like today?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And that's just to, like, keep in touch with that community, or like?
Yeah, it's where I train.
Yeah.
I've worked there, must be going on 6 years now.
Yeah.
Love like the team and the community that we've built there, and sort of played a role in building that up, and then it kind of went out to franchise, and then it came back in.
Yeah.
And changed names, and a whole lot of stuff happened there. But I guess I learned from that, being on the other end, and then now being a franchisor.
Yeah.
It's probably some valuable lessons.
Yeah. So how do you, like, where'd Recovery Lab come from?
So I have a gym in Melbourne, in Paran, Revel Training, and I was down there working at that for a while, back and forth doing 3 days a week down there, and a mate of mine, Billy Meeks, was involved in Recovery Lab, and we played together in same age in school and things like that, and he was involved, and I was like, mate, this is awesome. This is, I'd been around the Normatec birds and the ice baths and saunas and stuff, and
with Union and
just with it being implemented into all our recovery protocols and things like that, and started going down there, met Matty James, the founder, business partner now, and just got yarning to him for a while, and how passionate he was about it, and the reasons why he started it, and it just really resonated with myself. So I was looking at putting one upstairs in our gym in Paran, and then Matty threw out the idea of, these are our sort of plans, why don't you jump on board with us? And it if I jumped on board with the recovery lab, it would have been detrimental to our Windsor studio to put one in Paran. So decided sort of against that and jumped on board with the recovery lab and here we are.
Yeah, so cool. So the Revel, that's gone now?
No, that's still there. Yeah. We've got a couple of awesome managers that run that for us and are doing a great job. So
yeah, amazing. So recovery lab now, how many sites are there at the moment?
Nine studios open at the moment.
Yeah.
We have another 5 in the fit out phase.
Yeah, cool.
Now that are starting build or in the middle of their build. So
what's the concept? Just run us through the concept. What is recovery lab? Yeah, like interested to know.
Yeah, so I guess recovery lab, we want it to be sort of your one-stop wellness hub where you can come in and release yourself from the stresses of everyday life. It's not just about athletes. We're about sort of that wellness space, both physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Yeah.
And we give you that kind of space and the tools to unlock your best potential, really.
Yeah.
So we have NuCalm, which is a meditation and stress relieving device. Infrared saunas.
Is that like software or what is that?
Yeah, it's a software.
Yeah.
We use a disc as well, which has got a fair bit of technology in it and takes you from sympathetic over to parasympathetic nervous state. Infrared saunas.
So is that in a room or how's that? Is that
like a massage chair, isn't it?
You're kind of like a lazy boy chair, sitting back, relaxed. You can do it anywhere where you're slightly reclined.
Yeah.
You've got an eye mask on, and you're listening to neuroacoustic tracks through sort of noise cancelling headphones.
Yeah.
So
try to switch your brain off.
Yeah. So you can listen to we do obviously 30-minute or an hour sessions in studio. So for NuCalm, you got a 30-minute track, or you do the 50-minute track, and that just guides you through listening to different frequencies, takes you into different states, so it gets you right down into the restorative state, and then brings you back out slowly. So it guides you down and brings you out, and there's studies and data behind it's incredible. So it's all like patented technology, FDA approved in the States and things like that. But the Whoop data, I do 30 minutes. It takes off 2 hours of my sleep needs.
I was just about to say that. So Benny's wearing a Whoop, and I was about to ask, have you tracked it against the Whoop data and see what it comes up? So it wipes 2 hours of sleep need away. Yeah. So obviously, when you're, as we all know, if you're wearing a Whoop or have used a Whoop, it's telling you your recovery score really and your strain. So your recovery is based off a few metrics, but the main one's HRV, so heart rate variability. NuCalm spikes your heart rate variability. So the higher your heart rate variability is, the more recovered you are into that state. So obviously that's high. You want your resting heart rate low. That's kind of a fitness metric.
Does Whoop pick it up, or you add it as an activity?
Yeah. So it comes and goes sometimes, depending on the state that I'm in. But normally it comes up as a nap.
Yeah.
I can go back and change it as meditation or things like that. But we're working on getting it implemented into Whoop.
Yeah.
NuCalm into Whoop as its own activity. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Because I think they're pretty close. They don't really integrate with a heap, so it'd be cool for you guys to get in there.
Yeah. they've got Normatech in there just recently and done that. And, we work closely with the Australian team and for that. And by team, I mean one lady, Bree, does it all. She's a weapon.
In Whoop?
For Whoop, yeah. So she's incredible. And, we're going to eventually work with their athletes. I'd love to meet Will over in the States, the founder. And I think from listening and doing a lot of research around, what he likes and how he utilizes Whoop, and the reason why he set it up was recovery. And I think NuCalm's sort of in its own league in terms of helping your recovery.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool story, the Whoop story. And it's only getting more powerful, right? When, we spoke about it the other day with the workouts. With
the strain, if you send the new strain sort of bits and pieces. I did one the other day for the first time, and it was quite cool.
Yeah.
A little bit sort of jagged to sort of, as you're training, sort of stop and start. But I think obviously that'll come with time, and when they sort of fill it with data, I think they can start to understand that, and they map out the program, and they'll
100%.
identify when you're doing what.
Because I think you're in the beta. It come up on mine the other day.
Oh, it's live now, is it?
Well, it is on mine, and it didn't say anything about beta, so they must have just opened it up.
Push it through now.
Yeah, because it all been real cardio kind of based.
Correct.
Thing. So I just wanted to implement some strength stuff. But that story is cool. Did you see the one the other day where Amazon tried to come in and they're sort of in their early days and invest in it, and then got through certain stages and then pulled out and then went off obviously and did their own.
Tried to do their own.
And that they pulled that off the shelves the other day, and inside your actual Whoop it says in the back of it, if you undo it, and on the chip it says don't even bother trying, something along those lines.
Oh wow!
It's so far ahead of you. Yeah, it does. Yeah, and Will actually posted it the other day. It was incredible.
That's gangster.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Which is usually the playbook.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can get it cheap, we'll do it. And if we can't, then we'll fucking steal it from you.
Yeah, exactly.
So they seem to have the market now too. Like they got, they're starting to pick up a good share of the market, and people that are like conscious of their wellness or sleep or recovery or like pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
To be able to get that data is so cool, and it's an incredible story.
Yeah, I just think it's easy to wear. I mean, there's a few other rings and things that you can have on, but for me, it's just easy. There's obviously wearables now. You can put it in your sports bra or on your swimmers and your shorts and things like that. Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Elon Musk to figure it out, and I'll get it put in my head.
Yeah.
You said that.
Oh, dude, the moment I can get a Beats headphone and a Whoop strap in my head, I'll be the first guinea pig.
Won't be far away.
Yeah, I'll be the beta version of that.
So you've been rocking yours for a while, Benny? The Whoop?
Yeah, I think I would have been on mine. I think actually I sent, when you couldn't get in Australia, I sent it to America to an address and then got it sent back here.
So how many recoveries would have you done on it?
Oh, I don't know.
Over 1,000?
Yeah, I think I'm platinum or something on there.
Yeah. I just ticked over to platinum. I think I've got 1,100 recoveries or something now.
1,100. I think I'll be...
Which is about 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe, 4.5 years or something.
I think we're a bit over 2 years, or coming up to 2 years maybe.
I think it's a little bit longer than that because I bought it for you.
Yeah.
Like now onwards, it's been going for 2 years. It was before that.
Correct. Yeah, it might be 2 and a bit. I think it was July.
Yeah. Well, what does that come back from the US this morning? Like jump straight back off the plane. What does it say to you? Does it go skew if?
It does. And just, have you ever seen it, Benny, how it sort of like misses a night's, when it misses your recovery, misses your sleep, it throws you out. It's happened a couple of times, and usually another sleep, you give it 24 hours and another sort of recovery cycle, and it picks it back good. Up. But yeah, the time zones.
It doesn't like shift work either.
They don't love it.
Yeah, like I
got 623. I'm level 18 gold.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit behind you.
Yeah.
But I'll catch you.
The game of 5, like the portion there's really well. It's funny, man, because they turned on communities and then they turned it back off.
Yeah.
Which did you see that?
I've still got community,
but not in all of them. But I'm in about I think it's like 10 groups or something like that. It's like an ultra running, cycling, weight, blah blah blah, and there was communities and everything. We could engage and talk. Yeah. And then I can only engage in one of them groups now.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's interesting.
Bro, you're looking for sponsors too.
Yeah, let's go, bro.
Yeah, cool. So training, the Whoop. So that's one modality. We've got NuCalm as one modality. What are the other sort of? There's 5 main ones, ain't there? So we've got NuCalm. What else are you sort of pushing?
Infrared saunas. Yep. Hot and cold baths.
Yep.
Compex, which is like an EMS device. Electrical muscle stimulation.
Yeah. Are they the full wraps, or are they the full boots?
The compression boots are. We use Normatec boots.
Yep.
The EMS we use a Compex device, so it's really targeted to your muscle groups wherever you want it. You can get your neck, your back, your shoulder. You can literally go anywhere with this Compex device, and it's all done via essentially a mini iPod style device.
You drive it yourself?
Yeah, they can. We try not to let them, because most people will just turn it up, go in there and turn it up.
Turn it to 99.
They can't move their hands like this.
Really?
That's what I did on that. When I stayed at my dad's house the other night, and he's got this. It's called a Revitive. It's a little floor rocker, and I think Dawn Fraser were pushing them back on Balance Direct 5 or 6 years ago. Anyway, I thought, what is this thing? I'll give it a go, and it's EMS in your feet, your feet pads. And mate, I was on it for 2 minutes. So I'm taking this thing to 99, and it was the same thing.
Grabbed you.
Claws, turn your feet into claws, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I can imagine what that would be if you had it all over your back.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah. You just can't get out of it.
You can't get.
In terms, that's you can use it for strength.
Yeah.
Strength training or anything like that, but in the recovery space, it's just getting added blood flow to the area.
We're starting to chat to a few EMS based fitness businesses, and it's an interesting concept.
Yep.
And we spoke about it, and we're like, I wonder how it would work. Like, can you get jacked if you wore all these suits long enough, and can you actually build muscle using them? And I don't know the answer. I've never done enough with it, but it's like, how far can you go with it?
Yeah, I think you can. Like, you could probably. For me, I think it works because, it's the science behind it is cool, but the community aspect, or the sweating for me, going to the gym, sweating, talking to my mates, feeling exhausted, in the lungs or whatever, is for me.
Yeah,
but
that's a part of it, like that flight or fight.
Yeah. But I think if you're coming back from injury, or if you want to be perfectly balanced, because we've all got like sort of imbalances in our left leg to our right leg or things like that, then doing this is going to get you
tune you back up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think
you're always sore after doing it.
Yeah,
right.
And I said the same thing. Like my calves, like I was ripping into my calves, and I could feel it just on top of the quads.
Yeah,
and it was only hitting my feet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's definitely something there. I would like to get a suit. I'd like to give one of these sort of options a go.
I'll put the Compex on my core when I'm at home eating dessert, and
that makes you feel better.
Like 1,000
and nets it out.
Just eating ice cream.
Yeah, eating ice cream, and after an hour of comp, you can have another bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfect. That's awesome.
How much thought? Like I'd imagine, like even just trying to come up with their modalities and trying to I would imagine there's a lot of research and development in trying to pick, what we're going to push and do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're constantly looking at what's coming out next and what's evolving. In terms of that, it's also got to be cost effective for franchisees and got to be able to pay the bills.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cryos, super expensive to run.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's great. There's a lot of science behind the ice baths are giving you the same, if not more, benefits from it. And ice baths are a lot cheaper to run. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. Red lights are a big one.
Yeah.
That's kind of come out. There's these Thor beds that are essentially like a sunbed, like an old sunbed kind of thing with red light, which are really good for rejuvenating any injuries and good for your skin and detoxing and things like that. But it's like 120 grand.
A unit.
Yeah. So it just blows.
Which is hard for the franchisee.
Yeah, exactly. I know if we said to you,
and even utilisation, you got one person in at a time. It's pretty tricky to get.
What's the model staffing wise? Is one person man?
We've got one person manning it. It can be tough at times, and there's a lot of people coming through, and we're all on the same half-hour slot or hour slot. Initially, when we've got an influx of new people coming to the studio, there'll be someone from HQ working with the franchisee or the studio manager there. So I was in Perth for 4 days when they first opened, and I was always on the ground there working with studio manager or the casual staff member, and just making sure that first experience when someone comes into the studio is one to remember. Yeah. And that they're asking a lot of questions because some of it's probably new to them. Yeah. So we're just making sure that they get it. They can ask the questions that they want, and we're giving them the right information about it. And as that person keeps coming back, we have people that walk into the studio and will go and do NuCalm by themselves, or put the boots on by themselves, or they're just like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm down in the ice bath." They work their own way out, and it's how they want to be, and that's cool because it's their space.
Membership? Is it a membership model?
Yeah, so we've got memberships, casual passes, and packs.
Yeah.
So we work 3 of those. Obviously, membership's great. You can forecast off some recurring revenue, so we like to hit 60% of our revenue from that. But given that it's a lower yield, if you're paying a membership and you're visiting
multiple times,
times that week, it's a lower yield for that person coming through. So, packs are great. Casual visitations, awesome.
Yeah, and I guess it's just that trade-off between recurring revenue, even though it's slightly lower yield. Yeah, you probably make that trade-off just to get a bit of consistency. For the user, and then have that mix. Just get that product mix right as well.
Yeah, and people are hesitant to commit to things. A lot of people don't want to have memberships; would rather pay a higher casual visitation, but they're not locked into anything.
Do your customers or members typically have a gym membership as well?
Yeah, most of them would.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I guess too, it's like trying to land in between that athlete and the wellness space. You're trying to talk to two different people, but it's like opens you up to a massive market, right? Because I imagine like the athlete or like the top 10% that would see value in doing additional recovery. That's a small pool,
and they don't want to pay.
Yeah,
mate, I had this conversation with a business partner this morning. We've got AFL players, all sports, not singling them out, but people coming in, can we collab with you, or do you want to give us a free sauna? We'll post for you. I'm like, mate, this is your job. Yeah, your body. If you're injured, you're gone.
Yeah.
This is the one thing of many things that's going to help prolong your career.
Yeah.
Make you play better.
Yeah.
Week in, week out. It's $30.
Yeah.
Or it's $50.
Yeah.
Plus you're supporting a small business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's unbelievable. But yeah, athletes from a business point of view, they're great. They need what we want. What we can give them as well as a space on their day off. They can come in. It's not their club, so they don't have to go into the club just to do their recovery. So mentally,
it's actually a really interesting point.
Yeah, mentally, it's a fresh air.
Because that's their workplace, right?
It's like going back to work. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So if you have to go do your recovery, 7 days a week, you're in the place. So for us to be able to offer them that, we run team sessions through there outside of hours, so we can close the studio down. The teams can come in and run whatever they want. We've got TVs around so they can do video and analysis and things like that, or they can just come in and completely switch off. So that's obviously one element. And those team sessions are kids teams. We've got netballers going from Perth, coming from Brizzy to Perth, and we run sessions for them. We've got big basketballers all through the Northern Beaches, and NRL teams and stuff as well. So and AFL teams, so a lot of that. But then the corporate space, or people who just live in high stressful lives, that want to or need to perform, they need a place to escape, and to bring it all back down and together. So that's where we want to hit that market as well. Yeah.
And like from a growth point of view, is it like charging forward, or like you're still trying to figure it out, and like Recovery Lab as a brand, like what's sort of the big goals?
No, it's definitely like charging. We are trying to control our growth, obviously, but move as fast as we sort of can. Yeah.
Mostly inbound. Like, where are your franchisees coming from at the moment?
Mate, all over the place. Like, we're just getting hit from all angles, which is great. I'm trying to vet them down and ensure that when we're bringing someone on, they fit the brand. Yeah, they're good people to start with, because that's the main thing. And then can we work together in a business relationship? Can we help support you? Yeah. Are you driven to, it's your business at the end of the day. We'll support you and give you the tools that you need to go in and run that business, but you need to be driving it yourself. Yeah. We're not there to spoon feed you with everything like that. We'll give you everything you need. All the tools. But you at the end of the day, you need to be going and doing that, which I think, in a franchise business for me, when I went and opened a gym, it was like, I'll go there because it's an easier step into a business. You get given all the tools and stuff. Yeah, you got to work as well, but you come together and do it rather than go out on your own and do that. So, working through that, and then obviously there's some good opportunities overseas that we've fielded, but we're just focusing on here now and building our support network of our team and making sure that we can look after what we have, and as we continue to grow, we can
all internally funded at the moment. Yeah. And do you think you look at like a raise later, or just try to keep it?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. We run lean. It's at the end of the day, we're like, what's going on here? We need some money, and I think it's we've been like. Most people do raise, right? Whether they have silent investors come in or whatever it is. But for us, we haven't. And I think that's something to, kind of be proud of as business owners. We've scraped the barrel. There's been sleepless nights, that's for sure. And there probably still will be. But, we've had people come in and want to take X% or whatever it is. But, not
trying to nurture it.
Yeah, not at the moment.
Yeah. That's really cool.
It's really cool. Yeah. So how many sites do you think you could roll out in Oz? Like, what do you think the market size for RL is?
Oh, tough question. Like, there's on our mapping, there's over 250.
Okay.
So they're pretty big territories.
Yeah, they are, and they were bigger to start with. Right. And we valued those people who first came on with us, and then we've slowly made those territories a bit smaller. But initially there was like 100,000 people per territory. I think now there's still 75,000 people per territory, which is still massive in the franchise game. I mean, you look at other studios or companies and they're down to 30,000 and things like that. But obviously we don't want to have 250 franchisees because it's a challenge in itself.
Next question. So like a multi-unit style arrangement is the preference for you guys?
Yeah. We have... we have a group of people who want to open 7 of these. They're about to do Studio 3. One guy, we've done a master franchise in South Australia. That's
cool.
Been signed up and done, so that's awesome and really exciting, and he'll roll a couple out by the end of this year there, so that's cool. And just continues to grow like that.
I imagine the DD on that would be like quite meaningful, right? Like you're going to you basically partner with someone to roll out. Like they're pretty involving for you guys to be confident in that decision.
Yeah. He's got an awesome skill set. He's been in the fitness game for a while with gyms and rolled out and still has a few of those, and he's done that very successfully. So that's awesome. I think South Australia is a big space for it. There's a lot of money down there.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are active and health conscious.
Yeah.
And have a lot of space. For us right now, finding space and studios and things like that is probably the hardest part at the moment.
So just on that floor space, what's the requirements? Like, what are we looking for a typical recovery lab?
Anywhere from sort of 140, 150 up to 200.
Yep.
And then, we can go bigger, but your outlay is going to be bigger in terms of that. We put the infrastructure in to be able to have, 3 ice baths, 3 saunas, more NuCalm rooms and things like that. Initially, we started with about 100 square metres down in Richmond, and they've done their space really well. And then I think Brookvale's sitting around 250 square metres off the top of my head, which is a bigger space.
Big.
But it means you just got to fill it with more modalities or more infrastructure.
Yeah.
But and their studio's amazing. And they got good commercials. So
yeah,
it's really good. So the other guys, like some of the other competition, like, well, I guess what sets you guys apart, do you think, from like another brand or another offering?
Yeah, I think this space is still super early. There's a few people who are coming around, and City Cave, there's one off the top of my head. There's Recovery here in Sydney, which I think could open the second one and maybe doing a few more. There's a couple of standalones around. For us, we don't shy away from any competition, to be honest. It's probably more beneficial for us and also the wellness space.
Yeah.
We are, a place that has our 5 key modalities. You can come in and do all of those under one roof, whereas some other studios don't have that. And our sort of entry level and costs for a member or someone to come and use our studio, I think we're on the cheaper side compared to a lot of people. There's a place in Bondi I can go down there for a sauna. It's about $80 for an hour.
Wow, that's massive.
That's expensive.
And it's expensive. Whereas, $25 or $50 for an hour in our studio.
Yeah.
So
it's significantly different.
Yeah, it's just being accessible to
a
big market.
I think too, it's cool that you sort of touched on that, because it's my same viewpoint on competition, right? Like, it's good for the consumer, right? Like, that's ultimately, we're doing this to serve a purpose to the consumer, and more competition, it keeps everyone honest. It forces you to deliver a better product at a cost-effective price.
It makes you work harder and make sure that your systems and everything's in place. We'd have no issues with opening next to a City Cave or anything like that. I think there's a different offering there, and we can work. We've got some same things, but there's benefits in that.
I think it's definitely a rising tide. I don't know if it's just like the algorithm of like my social media, but like it seems like everyone's doing ice baths now, and
everyone's doing ice baths. Everyone's looking at saunas. I get smashed for sauna at home saunas. I get smashed for ice baths. I get smashed for
I was actually thinking about it this morning. How many coming into winter now? Like how much drop off? Yeah,
how many going to keep doing ice baths?
Yeah, because an ice bath like on a 25-degree day or a 30-degree day is a completely different beast than an 8-degree morning.
100%. I think obviously the Wim Hof stuff's played a massive role in that. But the science behind it and stuff speaks for itself. Correct. So once you get into it and you understand it and you get the feelings, then it becomes sort of a no-brainer. But it's definitely kicking off, and I think we're probably 18 months to 2 years sort of behind the States and sort of where we are and what we do, and that's sort of it's not peaking, but close to peaking over there.
Yeah. I did my first ice bath the other day, and I did about 10 minutes at 2 degrees. And first time I went in, and I was like, I don't like it. And it was just that sort of the first 60 seconds, 90 seconds, and then I don't know what it is, or I don't know the science behind it, but then your body sort of says, okay, cool, he's not going to get out of this thing.
Yeah, well, it's your body telling you, like, get me out of this situation, like run.
And then after that, just relaxed into it, and I felt really, really good.
Yeah.
And then I had a 30-second dunk after it when I was in. I felt great.
Was that after your workout?
That was after that. Acid bath we did. I thought it was really, really good. Yeah. So the US at the moment, it's an interesting comment because we sort of lag them in a lot of ways around trends and things like that. And I know over there it's cryo, like it's a big push, but like you mentioned earlier, prices are just so prohibitive over here. So
I guess it's similar to, like, when you talk about the cryo, it's similar to the EMS and the workout. It's like you go into a cryo and you're not getting like the physical, like you're not in the water. You know, like being in the water, like there's an element of discomfort in that.
Yeah.
I've never done cryo. Like, is it like uncomfortable as well? Is it
well, like I think it gets down to like nearly close to 200, minus 200 degrees. Obviously you start a bit higher and work your way down and stuff. But I mean, I think the peak I did was about 3 minutes in there. So then 5 minutes I'm in, I'm out, and I'm $90 later. I'm like,
it's hard to value that.
Yeah,
I think, as a
especially
consumer,
for like a $200,000 unit or whatever they are. Like,
but I mean, there's people always looking for the quick fix, right? So you got that.
Yeah.
Well, that's
there.
true. Yeah, it's true as well.
Say anti-aging, fat loss, blah blah. You'll have that market. Walking through your door, no dramas.
Like my brain goes, okay, cool, $90, 3 minutes. It's thousands of dollars an hour.
Like
that's where my brain goes. I'm like, that's what's happening here. Where I don't do that if I'm in the sauna for $30 for an hour or whatever it looks like. So I don't click to that.
Saunas.
We've been saunaing
every day.
4 or 5 times a day now. It's like back at home. There's a gym around the corner, and we pay membership.
$12 a week. Wow. You get access to this little sauna in the back of this old gym. It is fantastic. I'm pretty sure like we're the only people that use it.
There's not many.
And have our meetings in there, have a shower, and go back.
Nice.
And like I noticed the recovery too, right? Like just being in there, and it's like a little reset.
Yeah,
it's huge, man.
100%.
Feel good. Skin feels good.
Yeah, later in the afternoon or before bed. Sauna, and then you'll sleep well that night. And I like to ice in the mornings. Yeah.
So your week, are you in your PTing 2 full days a week, or is it?
No, so I just do. We run classes at BFit. So 5:15 is the first class, and it goes through till 8:15, 8:30. So I just do 2 of those a week. I have a few PT clients that I've been training for 5-6 years. That I either train there or at home in my gym setup there. But mostly full-time recovery lab from home. We've got an office set up there, and I'm online for that.
And what's your role? Like, what is your role with recovery lab when you're logged in? Like, what are you responsible for?
We've been chopping and changing a fair bit at the moment, but a bit of everything. But franchisee onboarding. So once someone signs on as a franchisee, I'm sort of their point of contact until they open it and start rolling.
So you're helping them with pre-sale?
Yeah. So we have a marketing team that manage all the pre-sale.
Is that internal?
Stuff. Internal, and we have an external one as well. That we work with, and just making sure that everything's ordered. Retail, working with suppliers on that, making sure uniform and stuff is all ordered, and just any questions that they have regarding anything pretty much comes to me. And then if I can't answer it, then I go to the person who can and just work through that process. Because obviously we run pretty lean, and we just can't have everyone on all the calls. There wouldn't be enough time in the day.
So once the studio's open and the sort of business is operating, you then pass them on to like the ops team, and you sort of, or they still point of call to you?
Still point of call. I'm always sort of
got
there.
Relationship,
but one of us, depending on where the studio's located, will be there sort of for that first week. A little bit before opening, and then throughout that first week of business as usual, ensure that that's all run smoothly, and then questions come through on WhatsApp at all times of the day. Managing that, and then roll over to our sort of operations. He manages lead numbers, membership growth, and reports with them, and does that sort of once a month. And goes back and has meetings with studio managers and things, and then whenever they have any other issues, fingers crossed, not many, they come to us.
So, Benny, typical staffing, we spoke about like one manager. Is it typically one sort of full-time manager, a couple of casuals sort of backfill around that? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have one studio manager and 3 to 4 casuals that are working. Most of our studios operated Tuesday through to Sunday. Monday was sort of an admin day to give everyone sort of a break or catch up on leads and things like that. And then so sometimes the studio manager will be in there and a casual might overlap for an hour or two and give the studio manager time to breathe and jump onto leads and things like that. Obviously with our Messenger AI we can manage that a little bit through that process. And then looking for social posts and B2B reaching out and things like that. So there's a fair bit to do. It's
a small business at the end of the day too. Yeah. It's like the same thing that all small businesses should be doing, whether they are or not, to grow.
Yeah.
And you use MindBody, like you said, the Messenger AI, and obviously takes a bit of heat off that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you got to grow.
Yeah.
Got to be out in the marketplace, in your community, looking for opportunities to sort of where the next growth levers are, I guess.
Yeah. When we're big on activations. We're a touchy-feely product. People need to put their legs in the boots and feel how good they feel after it, or jump in an ice bath and things like that. So we're big on getting out in the community. It's, try and push minimum 2 activations a month per studio, and I feel like that, and the data backs it up, is that our better leads come through that rather than digital.
Right.
Just because they're seeing it, they're feeling it, they're doing it, and they can see how they can implement it into their daily or weekly routine, so that they'll come into our studio. But obviously digital does play a role, but I think our more high quality leads come from activations.
So that might be, again, I don't know, that might be, for instance, take the boots down to the shopping centre or the supermarket and set them up and hire is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. So into gyms on Saturdays, big team sessions or things like that. We work at Nike Melbourne Marathon, Gold Coast Marathon, all the F45 track events that have just been going on and still going on at the moment. We've been there, so those kind of things, shopping mall stuff and pop-ups we kind of do in our lead up to open for studios when they don't have the space open just yet. That's a great way to get out in the community as well.
Huge. Cool.
And I think too, like one of the things that just highlighted to me now is like, I think if you're not doing all them things, and the competition will smell that out, right? They're like, oh, cool, like I'm just going to sit tight and watch them in this space.
Yeah.
They seem like they've got a meaningful amount of members there, but I think we could do a better job of this or a better job of that.
Yeah.
Because I think what happens is, if you're killing it in the space, or even if it's just perception, right? Like the socials are like on fire, with a lot of reviews. Like it's scary as a competitor to go and try to play in that space, right? When even the country's still trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I think the margins improve over time when more people are, they've had an ice bath or they can understand what it is. But I imagine like right now, it's like the people, like just to even break even or start making money, you got to be hustling.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Awesome. So, like when you spoke about before, is your roles are sort of chipping and changing. How do you guys manage or delegate tasks to each other? Like, is that like typically everyone knows their strengths, or is that how you try to play it?
Yep. Yeah, definitely play towards our strengths. We're in the midst of hiring a CEO at the moment.
Yeah.
Which hopefully,
that's exciting, man.
Yeah, it's a massive step. It's one that we need. We've got to where we are now, and we've done pretty well. Maddie and myself. Maddie fills the CEO role and has been doing an epic job at that. But there's once you get to 10, 12, 15 studios, there's a lot on the plate there.
Turns into a business.
Yeah, it does. And Dad always told me never get into franchising, and here I am.
But what do you think that was?
He was a franchisor.
Yeah. What are they?
Yeah, so he had 180 under him at one place.
Sites
in New
or
Zealand, franchisees.
Yeah, right.
Under him, yeah.
What was that?
He had a vending machine.
Yeah.
Company. So vending machines over in New Zealand, and then brought that over to Australia.
Wow.
So he warned me.
and
he's laughing now.
So have you started to interview for this role, or is it advertised?
Yeah. No, we have, and we've got the guy, we've got the person that we need and want. So hopefully by the time this goes live, he's in the role.
Exciting, dude.
Mate. Really exciting.
Thank you.
And then so like you play to each other's strengths and hold each other accountable, or
So we've got CEO, head of operations. We've got a fit out and leasing lead who manages all that stuff. And so, as I said before, finding sites is quite challenging at the moment. So we've been really active in going and finding sites and then filling that site with a franchisee.
Yeah.
We've got huge pool of people who have shown interest in it, but now it's.
So what does that look like? So you're looking for a site, and then so you'll work backwards and say, hey, this is a perfect site, and then you might go back to your lead list or expressing interest, say, hey, Michael, we have a site here. Is it something you're still interested in? Yeah. These are the numbers that the team has spat out, that predicted revenue, etc.
Yeah. So these are the commercials on this deal that we've been able to negotiate. We think it's bang on.
Yeah.
There's a big incentive for fit out or things like that. So if you don't have the capital up front, this could be a great opportunity.
Yeah. Is that like through finance or?
Yeah, or like the landlord. Landlord.
They sign like multi-year deals, maybe like a 5 or 10 year deal.
Yeah.
Is that like 5 year typical? What's
5 plus 5 is kind of where we're at the moment. We're also working with a lot of other brands like Strong and Fitstop and Anytime Fitness as well. There might be 1,000 square meters available somewhere. So how can we divvy that up between three of us? If everyone's got franchisees looking for spaces right now is something that we've found. So working alongside these brands who would, we complement them as well. It's great for us to be next door to these guys because they're in target market right there.
So for you guys to sit between, for instance, an Anytime and a Strong, it's interesting.
Yeah, like that's where and Annalie, I believe it's Strong, Fitstop, and Anytime Fitness in the same space. In Canberra and Braddon, we're next door to Strong. That's where we found the space. It was 500 squares, I think. Yep. We divvied it up and we've got some communal bathrooms at the back that we share between us. Yeah. And that's that one will go really well. So that's where we're trying to be active in that kind of space as well.
Yeah. And pretty typical in like major cities, you'll have 80 square meter sites or you'll have 400 square meter sites. Yeah. And there's sort of nothing.
The 200s and 150s are mobbed up.
Yeah, or they don't exist. So it's a funny sort of way it all maps out. Yeah. And it's a really good use of the space as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I guess too, like if you nurture them relationships with these other bigger brands, then like you get to leverage and get access to their member base too, right? Some of these big guys with hundreds of thousands of members. Yeah. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I guess Maddie and I are both kind of sponges, and we're just trying to learn and soak up as much as we can from people in the industry or people who have done what we're trying to do and things like that. So I think you've got to be open to that. So we're grateful to be able to work with alongside these other brands and talk to their CEO or their founder and things like that and learn something from them as well. Yeah. As going to business, I guess, with their franchisees.
If someone's sort of thinking, like they want to, maybe they're an employee somewhere or they're a PT but they're interested in the wellness space, like who is a good franchisee in your eyes, or what do you guys look for to partner?
Yeah, I think someone who values their health and wellness, is a hard worker, probably a bit of a forward thinker, or can pivot in different ways because things get thrown at you all the time in business. But yeah, someone who's just willing to put their head down and really grind something out. Yeah. They'll be very successful. They'll probably be successful in whatever they choose to do. But yeah, for us, they definitely will be. Big on community or able to manage people and just play to your strengths again. If social media is not your best thing, then go and hire someone or outsource that to there. We've got guys who outsource activations because that's not what they want to do. So they've got an activations team or in front of our desk or staff members. They'll get these girls to go and work that, and they do an amazing job at that, and create the community and the vibe in that place and do that really well. And then some people just step back and they don't really have to do too much, but just manage it all. So I think there's great opportunity for someone who wants to own their own business.
Yeah, and still plenty of good territories out there, right?
Yeah.
Early.
Yeah, awesome, dude. Mate, I'm super jazzed you come in and to tell us all about you and about Recovery Lab. I really appreciate your time, dude.
Thanks very much.
And it's given me a massive insight of what you guys are trying to achieve. Rising tide. It's going to be exciting to sort of sit back and watch you guys grow this out.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I was going to watch this space over the next 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now we've got the big
years.
CEO in there. I'm actually really anticipate to see who that is and what they're going to bring to it, right? Because like you get someone in there that their job, and even for you boys to be able to hold that person accountable. Yeah. It's like, hey, like this is what we expect. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Keen to hold, work with them and see where that goes.
Yeah, awesome. And if anyone wants to sort of learn more about Recovery Lab from a franchisee, or like where do they find you? Who do they talk to?
Recoverylab.life is our website. Follow us on socials, recoverylab.hq.
Yeah.
Reach out via there, and we'll be happy to help or ask any questions or guide you in the right way if it's not for us.
Legend. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate your time, brother.
Cheers,
Thank
Benny.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, big boy.
Cheers.